top of the hour. This is Dave Weiner. It is Wednesday, November 12th, 2014. This is the daily call for the agents inside the Weiner region and any guests we might have from time to time. But we are getting started here right now, and I want to welcome you to the call. Today is about getting placed in your professional location. And I want you to know something. It does not have to be a property and casualty agency. We're going to put up here at the very beginning here, and then we're going to give you the language to get in the location, but it can be a property and casualty agency. We're going to talk about the kind. It can also be a CPA office that we could have you housed in, and it could also be in an attorney office. So we're going to talk about all three. We are going to teach you, location. We're going to talk about the look and feel of what we're looking, basically the look and feel that, how it feels to a consumer. Yeah, I know we shouldn't judge books by its cover, but we do. So there's a certain look and feel that we're looking for your office. And we're not looking for a cubicle. We're not looking for, a storefront that is just, basically a drive into a neighbor's storefront type thing. We are looking for very specific look and feel, because when you are talking about money, there is an image. And you're probably saying to yourself, for those that haven't been in our webinars and training on the new model, you're going to probably say, well, why do I have to have an office? And you know what? We get that. But if you want to move the kind of money that we want to move on a consistent basis in presentation, and I'll open Pauline's mic here in a second for feedback on last night's appointment and what the client was feeling after I got done with that presentation last night with their numbers, the second appointment. There's an image that you have to have if you want to move the hundreds of thousands of dollars. And we don't want to make any mistakes on that. So we feel for us to be successful, you need a place to meet clients. Now, some of us in the past, as independent insurance people, what we have done is we have rented offices. We've done the executive suites type things, where share office type things. And that's kind of what this is in a weird way, but not. And a lot of agents, the majority of agents, before they even get into the marketing dollars, they just don't have the budget and the consistency of revenue to be able in their mind to be able to afford rent. And yeah, we do understand that. We absolutely get that. But we really feel that for you to be successful, you've got to be in a location. And for those of you that already have office space, outstanding. Those of you that are working with me to get office space this week, I think that's important. I think that's it's got to be done. And I prefer all the money to be left over for one thing, and that is for your advertising budget. I found a very cool thing from a list creating company last night, but I like a thing called an advertising budget, and this is important. I'd rather money not be going towards rent if I can have it towards advertising. For those of you that work from your home, if you're just doing recruiting or you're doing virtual meetings, that's great, but our project really has the client coming in to see you. And yes, we watched on the sidelines this past 12 months in our model generate 1.3 million visitors across the United States. So they weren't virtual visitors. They were really going into work. These people were really going into workshops. They were really attending meetings. And we want that group. And so if we want that, we have to have you in a location. So the question is, where? The where is important. We want demographics. People can get, they can get to your location conveniently. In other words, you're located proper. I'll give you an example. If I'm in the Bay Area, I've got a gazillion highways. But I want to be off. I mean, in our new office, we're going to be on Hamilton Road. And at Hamilton Road, as we exit right there, we're right off Highway 17. We're right near the 880. We're right near Highway 85. I have lots of highways right near me, and this particular location is right outside Los Gatos, which means I've got prestige and I got location, which means I'm supposedly near money, and that's important to me because I judge a book by its cover. The building is not to be a store. It's not to be a storefront. It's not to be some little tiny little, I've seen some of those little car insurance agencies and stuff like that. I am looking for brick and mortar. I'm looking for something nice. Sometimes they grade buildings. You want to be at least B+, preferably an A-rated building. You don't have to be A++. You don't have to be like in St. Louis and City Place, but I want something nice. Next, who's going to be your host? And I thought about this a lot. You're more likely to be able to host of a P&C agency than anything else. It's the easiest one of all of them. It's also one that you can immediately have a business relationship and share revenue. They already have a life license 9 times out of 10. They can see activity. They can smell money. They're going to be the easiest. Now, how do you get in the door to a P&C agency? Okay, getting in the door and getting us to talk to them about our model is one thing, but what I want is myself to place you. They need to know what we want. This is not going and begging to be in a place. You have, believe it or not, the gold, which allows us to be extremely bold. We can create a wish list that's beyond anything we want because we have the gold. Now, what we're bringing to the table is very simple. 10, 15, 20 clients a month to that location. And before you go get placed in that location, these are the things that you should have done before getting placed in that location. Number one, you should be properly contracted with us, our agency. I have no desire to go place you until I have contracting done. That's important to me. So if we're going to place you, contracting has got to be done. Second thing before we place you, we want your website set up. We've sent you instructions on it. We're not going to place you without that being in place. Like I'm placing Eli today. That's Eli May. And we're going to get him placed. And he's got the website thing done from what I understand. That's important. Because you got to be able to demonstrate and teach how to market. So that putting a person in that location, important. Are you a product of the product? Whether you bought it in the past or you need to do it or you need to replace your antiquated insurance, in the FEG model, I don't care who recruits you, you're going to be recruiting a ton of insurance people. Your recruiter writes your plan. We've been doing that for 3 decades. That works for us. What does that do? In this model, about 1/3 of the people that you're going to be placing are going to be other insurance people. You're going to be placing other entities Well, that's because of the model. Some people are going to opt to be insurance. The great news is you sacrificed one case on yourself, your plan, but you got to write everybody else's. That's a very cool model. So basically, as you're putting that together from a standpoint, those things need to be done to be placed in that location. So basically, the next thing is demographics. Do you think traffic is important? Location, how much demographic you have. Do you want to be in a small town? Do you want to be in a big town, tiny town? Well, the more traffic you've got, if you're 30 minutes away from traffic, well, guess what I want you to do? I want you to pick demographics that make you successful. You've got to have the ability to push, whether it's virtual or live, 100+ people a month through your workshops. We have the advertising. We know the companies that can fill the meeting rooms. Our demographic is not going to change. We are going after the 45 to 60-year-old demographic, and our objective is to put them in business. It doesn't matter what kind of business, but we're putting them in business. So getting a person placed, location is important. So again, let's just kind of recap. Do you want to be in a P&C office? Do you want to be housed with a CPA? Do you want to be housed with an attorney? The only one I think you can get signage with, where they put your name on the wall and negotiate that deal, is a P&C agency. There's not a shot in the world that your financial services name is going to have signage on an attorney wall. You might get it with a CPA firm, might not. It really, really depends. I'd have to be on my best day, my best game, and I'm not certain that that's an easy one to accomplish. But it's something. It's a starting point. So today's workshop is getting started, and this is all about location. This is all about what you have to say to get in there, and 99.9% of the work here is going to be done by me. You only have to introduce me and set the appointment. The rest of it I want to do. I don't want anybody else doing this but myself. Why? I feel that after a long year that I am the strongest asset we have. I can close this, and I don't want anybody messing up. I want people to have success. So step number, like I said, if you're going to get placed in a location, these are the things you have to have done for me before I send you out. First thing you got to do, you got to have your contracting. I've got some great news on contracting today. We now have more capacity, and it's a company with FEG, and this one particularly has some nice compensation contracts attached to it because it's on the traditional side. But here's the great news. On November 17th this year, with the exception of California, New York, and one other location, I'm not positive what the other location was, Foresters Life now has no-cost living benefits on their term in UL. No-cost ABRs. They were one of the companies that was charging. They are now a no-cost company. I don't know when California will be on board, but here's the good news. The rest of the country, and they've also got a $250,000 non-med product. And that product should be very competitive compared to the other companies out there, but it also gives us a non-med product in New York, and then as soon as the thing is done, it's got great compensation for the state of New York. Finally, we got a product with great compensation going into New York. And I'm kind of excited about that because they didn't reduce their comp very much in New York like the other companies. So that play right there, it's an FEG company. I'm very happy that Foresters has done that. That gives us, I think, about $5 million in capacity now. We're not there. I still think we got to be closer to $10 million in death benefit for our big business clients, but that's a great thing. So first thing you got to do is your contracting. These are the companies we want you licensed with. Now, if you're in Florida, Pennsylvania, Georgia, Massachusetts, sorry, wanted a slash there, Mass, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama, the two companies being used in those states right now are just Aneco and Phoenix. That's it. That's the only companies we're using in those two states right now. Coming soon, we will have. I believe Pennsylvania has been applied. Pennsylvania will be on the list. I still got to do Georgia, but very soon it'll just be a couple of companies. So very cool. Oh, on the above list, Louisiana, Mississippi, and Alabama will also have foresters because they did not the foresters with the living benefits will be approved also in those states without the non-resident requirement. Contracting, what else? LSW, Phoenix, our main annuity company, American Equity Life, AIG. You went through Quick Ticket yesterday. You know how excited I am about Quick Ticket with the stuff we learned yesterday. I think that's an amazing program. Those are our primary companies for about 43 states, and we are absolutely going to rock on that. So that's a great thing. So contracting's got to be done. Second thing, VPI. Some of you like it, some of you don't. In this particular program, if we're placing you in an office, in a PNC location, it's a model, no exception included. It's part of the thing. That's part of our workshop and everything. If we're placing you, you've got to have the VPI program. You don't have to have it if you're just an agent outside or recruiting outside. Not necessary. We like it. It's not, we're not forcing anybody, but if you want us to place you, that's a requirement. Product of the product. What the heck does that mean? You need to own Index Life and or Living Benefit Life with us. I don't care if you bought it with someone else or some other agency. It needs to be with us, and it needs to be the new one, the new type, not the old stuff. There's some old stuff out there that's really antiquated and obsolete or doesn't compete with us. And in the FEG model, you get your plan from your recruiter. So in other words, if I'm working with somebody but I'm not your recruiter, you go back to your recruiter. That's where you get your plan. So in other words, if I'm working with somebody that came in through Mr. Millsap or somebody came in through Mr. Livesay, I'm not doing your plan, but you need to have the plan. The recruiter gets you your plan. We will ask you for your policy number before we place you. Pretty simplistic there. Then it's time. And from a mental standpoint, there's three things that are going to happen. Placement, advertising, and remember, as your revenue increases, we expect you to put back 25% of your money back into advertising. Whether it's direct mail companies that are filling your workshops, whether it's radio or TV, it doesn't matter. And I came across a phenomenal email campaign house that built up every occupation, and it was so inexpensive last night. And we're going to be sharing that. But advertising is important to do your letters, to fill your workshop. And what else? Placement, advertising, what else do you have to have down to science? Presentation, what you're going to say on the one-on-one. Why? Because in the virtual workshop, for right now, and thanks to Jerry Price yesterday, we now have a 24/7 available workshop. What I did yesterday is now it can be dropped into a URL and people can go visit the workshop 24/7. I think that's hot. But it's still the one-on-one. And you've got to have enough traffic that you're driving through your workshops 100 plus a month to be successful. Anything less, and unfortunately, not your money would probably be still insanely great, but anything less would not be enough for the effort for your host. You have a host partner in this project, and they need you to bring 20 cases a month to the table. And to get to 20 cases a month, we know we got to push 100 people in front of you each month. Can't change that. Can't do less than that. You have to have a mental note. I've got to push 100 people through the workshop. So to give you an idea, yesterday we had 7 people in the workshop. Would you say that that is less than 25? Of course it's less than 25. So what do I have to do to make sure that my workshop is more proficient? I have to advertise. What was I doing last night? I was working on my advertising campaign. I'm not going to ask anybody else to make sure that every week I'm at 25 plus. I'm going to lead by example and do that. Now, I can give all the excuses in the world. I'm doing this case. I was doing these interviews from the week before. I was too buried. It doesn't matter how buried I was this past week. Because if you don't keep adding new people to your pipeline, you'll work through the ones you have, and then you'll be sitting there stagnant with nothing to do, and that's not cool. You constantly have to keep adding new stuff to your pipeline. So you have to have that look and feel to the consumer, and we want amazing when they come to see you. We want them to feel comfortable turning over their IRA for $200,000, $300,000. We want them to feel comfortable writing a check for $50,000 a year. Yesterday, I gave the client a choice between $52,000 a year in life premium and putting the money inside an annuity. So I'm going to open up the mic just to demonstrate how that went to Pauline Gathero out of the state of Washington, and I know she's here. At least I think she's here. There she is. And her mic is now open. Pauline, tell us how that went last night, and how did the client react to everything we did last night?
Dave, it was amazing. She looked at the figures, and the figures just blew her mind because she's been very worried that she could run out of her retirement money, and now she can see the light. She can see that there's still hope. And I went through the numbers with her after the meeting, and she's super excited, and she's ready to go for it. So thanks, Dave.
Oh, and by the way, I've got some great news for you. If she opts for the $52,000 a year, I had spent some time with Frank Sullivan on the phone, and you have to do, and folks, financial underwriting you've got to do up front. And one of my worries was there was no justification for the death benefit. Frank Sullivan, who writes a lot of big ticket cases, coached me exactly what I had to do. Now, you can't go afterwards. You can't put a case in afterthought. But Frank Sullivan coached me last night exactly what I needed to do if I wanted to go for the case that said I, in my mind, couldn't justify $850,000 of life insurance on a 57-year-old female who didn't have any kids or spouse. I just couldn't wrap my hands around it. Frank told me exactly what to do last night. I spent a half hour on the phone with him, and I am very grateful that Frank helped me on because I just mentally couldn't get my mind on how to do this one last night. And so when I left the webinar, I knew which way the client wanted to go. The client wanted the $52,000 a year life premium, right, Pauline?
Yes.
Well, I know how to get us there now, and I'm gonna finish that, and we'll have that done the next day or so. And congratulations! You got a chance. That was the first time we've ever done a case together. What did it feel like to do the initial presentation and then work our way into the client stuff? How did it feel for you? And you tell them you were muted out. We kept you quiet. You weren't allowed to talk.
Yes.
I mean, what did you think of when you watched me unfold that whole thing to the client? Is it anything close to what we teach, or is it what I did there totally different to what we teach here?
It is close to what you teach. It's just that with my lack of experience, it's always amazing when I watch it unfold. I wasn't expecting to see such big numbers.
You said after you saw the client presentation, we've never done anything close to that in these meetings, what I did with the client.
Yes, you haven't. Well, you started doing, lately you're doing a lot of combination stuff, IUL, and then the annuity part, you first get her the annuity, and then you use the annuity to fund the IUL. I mean, these are just things I'm learning lately. I'm new at these days.
So now, I want to point something out. Here's a client that was completely done what we call virtual. I have never met her. I've done other ones like that this year. I did one in New Mexico this year with Debbie Sipe that she did $36,000 a year in premium. This one is going to be $52,800 a year. We're still going to move $73,400 into an annuity. Because it's IRA money, I haven't decided whether it's Phoenix or American Equity, but I'm leaning towards American Equity. Because it is IRA money and because I've sat and looked at the numbers. So there's a $73,000 annuity to be done and finished up. And we're not putting the other $264,000 right into the annuity. I would have liked that. And but the client opted that she wanted the bigger life policy with the bigger projected income streams, things of that nature. So we're putting $264,000 into a company called LSW. And it took us 2 appointments, and now it's time to do the finalized notes and paperwork. And I've got to prep some things, and I got to prep my client exactly for the purpose of life insurance, and I got to explain to who the beneficiaries are. And that's where I got coached on from Frank, and I got to write one dazzling cover letter to go with this. But it can be done. It's not something you do in the back end. It's not something you do as an afterthought after the underwriter asks, well, what's the purpose for this life insurance? Explain. You've got to meticulously think it out, and the client's got to be totally 100% on board for that reason. So there's questions I still got to ask my client. But Frank got me to where I needed to be. And I got to tell you, extremely happy that occurred. And that's a great thing. So continuing on. Now, Pauline, thank you, and also thank you for allowing me the privilege of helping you with that case.
No, thank you.
And she's saying thank you back, but continue on. So, again, we want amazing when a client comes to see you for your one-on-ones. And even if the client's there in your office, this is what I want in the office, your office in that location. We want a nice desk. This is not to be a cubicle. This is not, we're going to be telling this owner here, this is not to be a shared office. We want your designations on the wall. We want your family pictures. We want nice credenza. We want a nice hutch. We want 2 nice side chairs. We want everything in there that has got a plush executive feel to it. No shortchanging this thing. When people come into that office, you're looking at you're going out there and you're scoping out where you want to be placed. I want you to walk in. I want to make sure that the reception area is amazing. You can smell success. You can smell that in attorney offices, sometimes in CPA offices. In the P&C agencies that focus on commercial, it's there. It can be an older building, but I still want that feel when they come in that there's that success ratio. We do not want that screwed up whatsoever. We want that feel. Amazing. In your office, I want a monitor that you can turn around. It's attached to your computer. This is a nice big screen. Maybe it's a 24-inch, 32-inch something that can be done by computer, so that if we have to do a virtual one-on-one, the client is in front of you, your computer screen faces you, and your monitor faces them. They don't even know you're looking at your screen. And the great thing is you could be logged in to me, and I can be doing, yes, you got to have Wi-Fi. Yes, you got to be able to be online and utilize, be able to take them on an immediate go-to-meeting, because in the beginning, what if you're not strong enough to do it by yourself? What if letting me do that for you, your first few appointments, makes all the sense in the world? There's logic to that. Don't want to mess that up. We want that look. So plush executive office, that's you. I want that monitor structure. I want your computer. You're also going to need in the office, you can be tied by wireless, but they got to have all the modern day equipment. You got to be able to scan. You got to be able to fax. Here's the great news. Most of those things can be done off your laptop, but you should be tied into their printers and their fax machines and stuff in the office, because that's what they're providing you. They also should be having a live person in the front that greets people. That's the executive. That's your admin person, and it's not part of your budget. It's part of their budget. They already have it, but they treat you just like you're part of the team. Now, are you getting a feel for what you got coming on now? Now, they may have the furniture. They may not. You may have an investment to upgrade your office furniture. I think they should be happy. If you find a place that looks right, you still got to have that look and feel. I don't want this shortchanged because you're dealing with money. Next, what do you say to get placed? Who wants to get placed this week? Because all you're going to say is a few words. You're not placing yourself. I'm doing it. So who wants to get placed? We gave you all the steps before we place you, but who wants to get placed? And this is what you're going to say. You're going to find a location in a business that fits what I just described. It'll be harder to put you in a CPA office or attorney office. If you'd rather be in an attorney or CPA office, I'm going to need about 10 to 15 of those to present to get one success story. But someone's going to step up to the plate and be that attorney. Someone's going to step to the plate to be our CPA. I prefer to put you in a property and casualty agency. Demographics, they must be independent. You pick up the phone. In a second, I'm going to show you how to find a list of them. I found it last night. You pick up the phone and you call them. That's it. Pick up the phone and call them. It's easy. The gatekeepers. Everybody know what a gatekeeper is? They're supposed to keep you away from the owner. That's whoever answers their phone. They don't let salespeople talk to them. I can't tell you, when I was in Bakersfield last week laughing, or chuckling, I shouldn't say laughing, but I was laughing when people said, well, we're out there prospecting insurance agencies and they're not giving us the time of day to put our products in there. Do you want your products sold by that agency? And if the answer is yes, you'll listen carefully to what to say. So before I give you the words, I'm going to go on the Internet here. I'm going to go to our Internet section. Bear with me for 1 second. And I'm going to scroll this over. I've got to find what I found last night. I believe this is it. And this is inboxwire.com. And you can search for categories. Target your market from a drop-down list. So let's say I want to go to insurance, and I want to find insurance agents. And then I go like this, and I hit next. I got to be logged in. I'm not logged in right now. I was logged in last night for the Prospect Builder. They created, and I think I've got a sample still up here. Bear with me for 1 second. A sample looks like this. And it tells me whether they're captive, independent, the name of the person, their address, their email address, their phone number, their city they're located in, and I can build a list. And the pricing on this deal was funny. I got to find, the pricing could be down to, from a marketing campaign. Bear with me for 1 quick second here. I'm grabbing the pricing because I had the pricing out last night because I was absolutely knocking this thing across the box. And the pricing was beyond anything that, here's pricing. Insurance agent list download, and these are email campaigns. Can you imagine send up to 145,000 emails a month? I said 145,000 month to month, no setup fees, $149 a month. 288,000 emails a month to month, $199 a month. Their gold plan, I'm sure there's a gold plan. Those are silver and bronze plans for email campaigns. How many do we want to place? And I'm looking for locations. So once you got a bunch of locations, guess what? Get in your car and go check them out. If you want to walk in and set up the appointment with the language I'm going to get you, fine. If the place looks right, do it. If it doesn't look right, don't. You want to walk in there and set the deal up, what a great thing. But here's the language. Regardless if you walk in or on the phone, you're going to be faced with the challenge of getting through the gatekeeper. If I was calling someone, and I'm going to role play right now, so I want you to listen very carefully. I'm going to pick someone to role play with. And I'm going to pick someone here that's here, and I'm going to use Judge Landers. Judge, are you there? Judge Landers, I just unmuted you. And what I'd like to do is pretend I'm calling, going to your gatekeeper and talking to you. Are you available?
Yes,
I don't know if I can hear you now. Okay. I would like to call you on the phone. And I know you're an attorney. And I want you to listen to the language and tell me if you'll grant me an interview when I'm done talking, okay?
Okay.
Now, Judge Landers, do you have someone that answers your phone?
Yes.
Okay. We're going to do the gatekeeper first. And do you keep your gatekeeper from sending people to you that you don't know? Like, in other words, they have to have a real good reason to get to you?
Yes, in fact, I have two gatekeepers. If they get beyond the one, they have to go to another one. But yes, to answer that question.
So I want you to visualize, I picked up the phone, I called the gatekeeper, and I said, I want to talk to Judge Landers, and they're going to ask me, what's it pertaining? And I'm going to say, I would like to interview Judge Landers. I know he's an attorney that works with business owners. And it's a possibility that I would like to refer 10 to 15 business clients a month to Mr. Landers. But I do want to interview him and meet him before I send clients to him. Can I have an appointment?
Well, the response.
They're going to ask they're going to ask the question, what kind of business are they going to want to do? Why are you referring? They should be asking the question, what kind of business are you referring to us?
That's exactly what I was going to say. It's going to want to know what kind of business it is, how long they've been in business, and How'd you find out about Mr. Landers, etc.?
Well, we've asked many people in the community that we're looking for attorneys that specialize with small businesses, and Judge Landers' name was brought up as a person that worked with small businesses. But more importantly, we need someone that's able to write buy-sell agreements, key man coverage agreement type plans, writing the legalese for purchases of new companies, and work with the legalese of loan documents. Is that his expertise, or could that be his expertise?
The answer would be yes.
Great. We would like to have an appointment to talk to him about bringing that business to him. We'd like to meet him and see if he fits what we're looking for.
Well, could you?
Would they grant an appointment at that point? I don't know.
They may not. They may not. They may want some more information. Can you leave your name and your number, and we'll let him know, and we'll have him get back to you.
So if you got a message saying that David Weiner wanted to give you 10 to 15 buy-sell agreement potential clients a month, would you be picking up the phone to call David Weiner back to find out if that was real?
I might, yeah, because they've been trained to get as much information, and if it's something that lines up with what I do, and I'm curious enough then if I'm going to be getting that volume, I want to know who this person is. I probably would call them. I don't necessarily mean that they'd get to see me that day, but I'd probably follow up on it, yeah. Because
now you know a lot of attorneys. Do you think a lot of attorneys would follow up on something of that nature?
Yeah, with that approach, yeah. If they really do it the way you just did it, the attorney is looking for business that matches up with what he or she does on a day-to-day basis. They don't have a lot of time, but if someone comes in and they give that kind of presentation, all the attorney has to do is make a quick 5-minute call, because within 5 minutes they'll know if the person is for real or not. They haven't wasted a lot of time. They probably will make that call.
Now, I want you to pretend like you're now talking to me. I've gotten through your gatekeeper. We're now talking. Judge Landers, thank you for taking the call. And like I said, let's just say our initial conversations by phone or virtual appointment. I'm just going to take a couple of minutes here, and I'm going to kind of, you might refer me to somebody else that this is more proficient to. But basically, we are helping people establish themselves with a lending process that puts people into business. That requires the assistance of an attorney. And we have 15 to 20 clients a month that we're finishing up that need the legalese done for them. Whether it's a franchise, a startup company, whether it's doing a buy-sell agreement, we need an attorney to be part of that team. And we know from the conversations we've had, you specialize in some of those areas. However, before we choose you to be that person, we'd like to share with you our model so that we're for real. And that would mean an investment of your time, about 30 to 40 minutes of your time, to see exactly what we're bringing to the table.
Okay, what is, you want me to respond to that?
Yeah, something of that nature, yeah.
Okay. The first thing I want to know, okay, well, Dave, who are you with? Well, what company? Is it your company, or are you representing the company? Is it yourself? Who are you with?
We're an independent financial services firm that represents several life insurance companies, and our company also has a relationship with a firm that put us in the commercial lending business. We're doing the insurance and lending portion of this. What we're not doing is the CPA portion of it, the property and casualty portion of it, and the attorney portion of it. But we are doing financing and insuring it. We just need someone that's in this backyard that works well with business owners and is able to do the legalese contracts for us. And we feel we can bring 10, 15 to 20 clients a month that need that work and establish a client for your firm. And what we're looking for when you see our model is we're doing the new type of life insurance for the buy-sell agreements, not the old type. In the past, when the bank stipulated, sir, that they needed insurance, they brought insurance plans to the table that basically the only way the banks the capital source was protected or the buy-sell agreements were funded if the client died. We're bringing the new type of life insurance where we're able to release millions of dollars if the client just gets sick and unable to function. And we just want an attorney that is on board and doesn't bring to the table their insurance agent or their friend or their license. We want them to work with us, and we want to make sure that we have a real, true relationship.
So you're telling me that this would be 10 to 15 new clients, and you're not asking me to bring my clients to the table? Is that it?
I'm not asking at this time for your clients to be brought to the table, but if you do see merit in the future of what we're doing, and it's different than what you've done in the past for your past buy-sell agreements, absolutely would love the opportunity for reciprocal business back.
Well, you've told me 10 to 15, but is that really true, or is that just an estimate? What's been your experience in the past working with any? Have you worked with any other attorneys?
From our commercial lending practices that have been done for our firm, last year in the United States, there was $2 trillion in commercial loans done in this country. What was done and funneled and actually approved by big banks was only 7%. The lending portal that we are working with says that by having 3,700 banks and investors in our portal looking at our clients, they'll take our approval ratio to 22%. By us doing enough advertising in your backyard to put 100+ people in our workshops, we feel we will fund 15 to 20 deals a month, because that's direct relationship to the members has been told to us by the people we're working with. In our first 10 weeks in the commercial lending business, we've put in 1,700 loans, and we've put in $1.5 billion in lending throughout the United States with our agency already. We do not have the attorney relationships in every small town and every major city yet.
Okay. Well, two questions. I'm a little bit I'm warming up, but I need you to answer two questions for me. One, is there any cost associated with this? And two,
there's no upfront fees to our clients when they go into our lending portal. And at this point in time, what do you mean by cost?
Well, I want to know. Usually, sounds too good to be true to me. And just being a typical attorney, usually if someone gets in the door, sooner or later they're going to ask for money of some sort, and I'm frankly not interested in that. If you're bringing me 10 to 15,
I'm going to tell you what we want. You want to hear what we want?
Sure.
When we have a client that needs legalese, we want you to bring our rep in that's working the case as the counselor. You guys meet in your conference room, in the Mahogany conference room at your firm, and you meet with the client together, and you treat our counselor as if they're a member of your team. I don't know what kind of value you put on that, but I consider that. You probably have to meet the person we've picked to be in your part of the the country, and make sure that they actually are articulate and well dressed enough and well spoken to be a part of that relationship with you. But that's what we are asking for.
Okay. Well, it sounds good. And one last question. What? Excuse me. Are you just interviewing a lot of attorneys? Would I be the only attorney in a specific area, or
once we identify an attorney to that area, then that area is locked up for us, because there's too much work we're doing across the country.
I see.
And we're doing it by demographics. There's no question, demographics.
Well, what time did you have in mind that you wanted to talk to me? I'm pretty busy. I might be able to free up 15 minutes or so within the next couple of days.
I'm going to need 45 minutes of your time, unfortunately. We can do it by virtual, by webinar, or I can do it by in person. I prefer a virtual setting where I have the person that we want to work with you actually come to your office, and then I'll be on the computer. We'll take you onto a GoToMeeting structure, and you'll see our complete model, and that'll give you the ability to make a final decision whether or not you want to be affiliated with that model.
Okay. Well, I'm the kind of person, I like hands-on. I like to see the person I'm talking to. So if I'm going to give you some time, I want somebody to come in and talk to me.
Fair enough. I can come into town next Wednesday in the afternoon. afternoon. Can that work for you?
Wednesday, what time?
Let's go for 1:30.
Yeah, I think I could do that. Yeah. Yeah.
And if I'm coming into town, I want to make sure that we're able to block out some significant time, at least an hour for that, to go through the workshop.
Well, if it's no more than an hour, I think I can do that from say 1:30 to 2:30. Yeah, I'd be willing to listen to you. I just want to make it clear that I'm not making any promises, but I'm interested enough to take a look at it.
Now, folks, everybody that's listening here, what I said at the very beginning, I said the hardest ones to be done to work with are absolutely going to be the attorneys. That's going to be the hardest one. I think the easiest one to do business with will be the P&C agent. It's not that they're both not paid for service and commissions, things of that nature, but I think the property and casualty agent absolutely will value the idea of 15, 20 commercial accounts a month and put a huge, huge value to that. The attorney is going to be the hardest one. And Judge, would I have gotten into your front door with that conversation?
Yeah, you would have. I probably would even grill you a little bit more, but I know it's timely for what we're doing this morning. But yeah, the first thing that I heard was 10 to 15. I'm thinking, well, that's additional business. No cost. You didn't answer that question, but it's okay. You did okay with that. And then I would want to know primarily, is this just going to be a bunch of attorneys you're just throwing on the wall, but you hit the nail on the head? You says, no, you would be the only one. And I think that's the thing that kind of opened up the door right there.
Carlos Millsap wrote in the comments here that you grilled them for a year before you did business together.
That is true, yes.
Well, you know me, and if I asked you to refer us to other attorneys that you knew across the country to help set up a network for you, I think I can hold my own. I think you would agree with that.
Yeah,
yeah,
I would.
But this is about getting agents placed, and what I don't want to do, again, it does not matter to me what office they're in as long as it fits the parameters I was describing a second ago. It's got to be professional looking, because we are talking about money. This is not, I just think we have to have that look and feel if you want to move the big dollars on a consistent basis. Anybody can move a little bit of money once in a blue moon, but if they want to be consistent month in and month out and move $1 million a month of annuity premium, they really have to have that look, and I think you would agree with that, right?
Yep, absolutely.
I'm going to thank you for your few moments there. I'm going to put you back on the call there. Now I'm going to take a person, I'm going to role play him as a property and casualty agent. And I'm going to go to a person that had a property and casualty agency. And I'm trying to think, he's here. I'm looking for someone specific. I know told me the other day they had a property and casualty. There he is. Doug, I'm opening up your microphone in Indiana, and I believe you told me you had a property and casualty agency in our interview. Doug, how are you? Douglas?
I'm fine. Good morning.
Good morning. You told me you had for a few years your own property and casualty agency, correct?
Correct.
And I know I asked you the question, if I had approached you back when you had the property and casualty agency, you would have absolutely put an agent inside that office to do that, right?
Yes.
So here's a person who's a P&C owner, not the same relationship as an attorney, but as a property and casualty person, and I'm gonna put you back on hold. What you're going to do is you are offering 15 to 20 commercial insurance accounts a month. Because when a loan is done to a new business or a franchise, those companies require that kind of insurance. And so they have to go get that. Well, if we're doing a one-stop fit-all, put the project together for that consumer, we have an insurance agent that's there, and we want to fund and finance that premium. So we're going to pick up the phone. We're going to talk to the gatekeeper. We're going to ask the gatekeeper very simply, this is all you're going to say. is Shows Insurance, the insurance agency, what the name of it is. This is the first word, do you specialize and cater to commercial insurance? We are not looking for the agencies that are only in the car insurance world. We're not looking for the homeowners, renter insurance. Do you do commercial insurance? Are you independent? And how would you say you stack up rate-wise? Versus your competition. In other words, are you competitive price-wise? Because this is an expense. Commercial insurance is not an asset. Commercial insurance is an expense, and we don't want to house you someplace that's too expensive that forces our client to go down the street for coverage. Your agent housing is not going to be happy. The person you pick must be competitive. So we have to ask that question. In other words, do you focus in on commercial insurance? Are you independent? How would you stack up rate-wise? Those aren't the kind of questions you want to sell my term life insurance at your front desk. You're interviewing that location to do business with them. Now, if they're competitive and they claim they're competitive, please tell me who the players are in this market, and where are you rate-wise? Where are you? Tell me. And if they can brag, they will. If they can't, they won't. They'll probably talk about how great their companies are, ratings. I'm not caring about ratings. I want to know, can they do good pricing for my clients? Then you lay the bomb on them. I have the ability to refer 15 to 20 commercial accounts a month, and I need to interview the owner to see if I can do business with him. This is a more controlling interview than I'm going to do with an attorney. It's not as grilling because there's a greed factor there. They're going to go, great. I want to set up an appointment with the owner, and this is the structure I want. I'm going to be present, and one of our corporate advisors is going to be live on the computer and phone. So we're going to need a place where we have access to the web and your computer screen and your phone, so we can talk and communicate, so you get a chance to meet me in person. But I have a person that wants to, our executive director wants to interview this facility for our business. So it'll be the two of us interviewing, one in person, one virtual. And we're going to need about an hour of your time to see if we can do business with you. If we can bring you 15 to 20 accounts a month. There's no gatekeeper in the world that's going to keep you. Now, they might bring the owner out to talk to you. They may put the owner on the phone. You do not close the deal. I have too much stuff on our wish list from them for you to be closing it. Let me close it. I'm going to talk for 45 to 60 minutes, and I'm going to close them hard. And not only am I going to close hard saying, do you want this deal, I'm going to let them know there are others in the backyard who represent the same companies as they do. Someone is going to step up to the plate. Now, they may not be able to accommodate an office like we want. They may have no office space available. They may not be able to accommodate our wishes. Or they may figure out how to accommodate it. No one is going to not want that to happen. We're going to tell them how to grade the deal. You know how long it takes to close deals? It's not going to happen in the first 30 days, the lending part. It's going to take 60, 90 days for those deals to function. And I'm going to tell that person in the interview it takes that long. But how do you know that things are going great? by the activity level coming through your office. If you're seeing 10, 15, 20 people coming in for one-on-ones with our advisor, you know you're golden. You know it's working, and you don't have to sit there and judge a book by its cover. It's great. If you're sitting there a month from now and there's no traffic coming through the door, we have a dud in your office. What's a dud? Someone who is not engaging. Someone who's not advertising. And we don't want that. You don't want that. When we put a location together, that person you're going to work, and you're filling up activity. You're filling up your virtual workshops, your live workshops, and you're doing your job. For those of you that are affiliated with your local SBDC centers in your backyard, guess what? Whether it's through VPI or through the other source, you can utilize them and use them in this project. You can refer clients to go to you can refer clients that are going through your workshop, going through your process. You're controlling the point of entry. But yes, you can refer people to go attend all the workshops that are being done by the local SBDC. You can create a relationship with the SBDC, but we are not giving them the loans. We're keeping them. They get graded on traffic, not how many loans they do. They get graded on how many people they're helping. They only do loans because because people need loans to create jobs. So we're going to have a relationship with the federal agencies. It'll be all kinds of different federal agencies, but we're going to have a relationship. And the people that are in the PNC locations, you will be a representative of VPI, which will give you access to the federal agency. You remember, the federal agency does not produce clients. It does not produce clients. Advertising produces clients. Just because other people go through a federal agency doesn't mean you get to deal and work with them. I had to learn that the hard way. A federal agency, you might become great at business continuation planning, and you might even get to do a business continuation planning webinar or seminars at the local federal agencies. But that doesn't mean they're going to send clients to you. You want to control your activity, not somebody else. This is the one thing I learned this last year. Your destiny, if you follow instructions, is in your hands, not anybody else's. So, yes, you got to be contracted. Yes, you got to believe in what you're doing, be a product of the product. Yes, you got to have a stellar location to meet people, a real office. And yes, we're going to be doing workshops together, lots of them, on all kinds of different subjects every week. Sometimes we'll be doing workshops on business continuation. Sometimes we're going to be doing workshops on marketing. Sometimes we're going to be doing workshops on just putting a person in a business, but you want traffic. And if we get good enough at our stuff, if we're protecting the capital source that we're going to protect, we're going to protect our capital sources with our business continuation model. We're going to protect the crumbs with our solid HCP program, that's household continuation planning, in case the stress gets to you. Folks, we're going to control it because we are going to control the traffic. No one is going to give you traffic. No one is going to give you clients. Until you deliver. When you prove to be an amazing team player with your CPAs and your attorneys and your P&C agencies, guess what's going to happen? Those file cabinets, not by asking, but by the light bulb going off in their heads that they can do the same thing. And not by them doing the work. They're going to realize you're there. And I hate to use this word, but they can use you to increase their revenue by referring a person to you to do what you do. And just like I said in my workshop, it may take 3 months, it may take 6 months, but eventually the host locations will refer business to you. Our host partners in the area, our partners, our strategic partnerships, will eventually refer business to you. And where does the federal agencies fit in our program? This is important. I do not need them for clients, but I do need them for follow-up. If they're putting on a free workshop on how to do payroll for a startup I'm doing, if I got a person doing a startup and they got to know something about payroll, I can send them in there. If I want to send them in for a meeting on buy-sell agreements, and they're doing a buy-sell workshop, even though I've got a stellar attorney, if I haven't finished a buy-sell on somebody I'm working with, that all I have gotten done is the window dressing, you're darn tootin' right I'm going to send them over for that workshop. And what's going to happen is I am going to go in and introduce myself to that director. And I might attend those workshops when I have the time, when I'm sending people over. But the director is going to know that we already do funding. The director is already going to know that we teach marketing. And we can do marketing workshops there for other people, but you know what? I just want to focus on what we control, not what others control. And this is important. So we've window dressed you. We got you placed in an office. Yes, we're going to have relationships with attorneys, CPAs, and yes, even federal agencies in the backyard, because we're doing the same model that we've been exposed to for a year, except we are going to take control from day one. A lot of people that come through our model are just going to end up becoming business owners, listen very carefully, in the insurance field. Is that a bad thing? A lot of people are going to become insurance agents inside your agency. This model is going to force you to place other outlets. And here's the good news. If you understand your compensation, this is how strong it is. They will have the same contract as you. The host locations that get their insurance license, I'm talking about the P&C agencies, will have the same contract as you. Yet, you will get paid on anything they do, even knowing they're on the same compensation grid. That's how powerful our structure is. So with that said, I know we've absolutely overran today. I know it's Wednesday, but right now I thought the stuff was way too important to get people placed. Those are the steps. Finish your contracting so we can check that off. Show us you're a product of the product so we can check that off. And last but not least, schedule as many places as we need. until we get you placed. Because location is 99% of the battle. And then you begin your advertising campaign, and we go to work. And there's nothing wrong with that. So with that said, that is basically the basics of it. I'm going to go to Michael Andrews in Sacramento, who's been working on his location. Michael, your mic is open. Any questions or comments on this tonight? Michael?
No comment. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
No, you covered everything very well, and I believe that with the role plan that you did, gave people extra insight on what they need to do, how to do it. So fantastic class as always.
Now I'm going to ask you a question because you've had relations with federal agencies in the past. Am I right in sending our clients into workshops at federal agencies? Is that okay?
Well, sure. Sure. I think it provides some credibility.
I think that's pretty strong stuff. And the federal agency directors, if we're sending people into their workshops, even though we told them up front that they're not doing the lending or anything else with them, because they don't get paid on that anyway, do you think they'll mind not having, do you think they'll mind not doing the actual counseling with just letting people attend their workshops?
No, that'll be fine. That'll be fine.
They'll welcome them open arms, wouldn't they?
Yeah, they'll ask you. They'll begin to ask questions like, "Wow, you're sending people to our workshops?" In fact, they love that. Believe me, they love it.
Because they get graded on how many people attend the workshop, right?
Exactly.
To justify their wage.
Exactly.
They don't get graded on how many loans they do. They don't get graded how many loans they apply for. They get graded on the amount of people they're actually helping, and they can help our people too. And I have no issues with that. So with that said, folks, it is 13 minutes past the top of the hour. I feel like we accomplished a lot today, the basics. And I know I've been buried on a lot of things, a lot of people one-on-one, but we are moving forward, and I am ecstatic about where we're at because we are moving in a very, very diligent place. And Michael, did you like that new email place I found for lists?
Yeah, I think it's pretty powerful. We'll be talking about that.
That's $149 for, what was it, 88,000 emails a month?
It's pretty interesting.
That's pretty strong. So anyway, thank you, folks. Have a great day. We'll see everybody tomorrow. And again, today's workshop was getting a person placed in their actual location. Have a great day.